Let us first acknowledge that the land now known as Solano County was the traditional land of the Patwin people, who now live on as the Yocha-Dihi-Wentan Nation. Acknowledgement is just the first step. Please take the time to learn more about indigenous history. The city of Vallejo has been seeing an explosion in development. With development stagnating in the years following the Great Recession, it's been incredible to see the new proposals and construction that the city has seen in recent years. City staff have been seeing this as well, as the Planning and Development Services Department is planning on releasing a new value document in the coming months. The value document, or Vallejo Assets and Land Use Entitlements, will provide city staff, public officials, Vallejo residents, and potential investors a look into all land inquiries, current projects, and new approvals in the city of Vallejo. The value document was first unveiled publicly during a Planning and Economic Development workshop during the City Council's meeting on the 21st of July, 2020. Let's hear what Planning and Development Services Director Gillian Hayes has to say about the document.
That the 3 a.m. wake up idea of the value list was like, we need a way to track not only what's been submitted, but what inquiries have come in. Once you track the inquiries and you start tracking those parcels and those potential development projects, you can follow up. You can connect grant opportunities. You can connect architects or developers or landowners or help make those connections. And so the value terms, when I thought of assets, we really need to be tracking our assets at the City of Vallejo.
During the meeting, city staff revealed many new conceptual projects that staff have been discussing with potential developers, all within various stages in the planning process. However, given that most of these projects aren't even past the conceptual stage, it may be many years before they are fully realized. Some of these projects may never even be fully pursued. Knowing that, here are some projects that may potentially come to the City of Vallejo. The city has received an informal inquiry regarding a vacant site located to the east of Locust Drive and Masonic Drive. We can assume that the inquiry was referencing this property right here. Proposed for the site are 46 new single-family homes. The city has also received various inquiries regarding developing property at the intersection of Redwood Street and Sonoma Boulevard. Proposed for this site are various industrial uses, such as manufacturing or distribution warehouses. There may also be potential for auto dealerships. Looking at the map, there aren't many vacant sites at the intersection of Redwood Street and Sonoma Boulevard, except for the one across the Seafood City Shopping Center. It also seems that the owners of the Sunrise Memorial Cemetery may be interested in developing their property, as the city states that the cemetery has been long vacant. New single-family homes are also proposed for the site. City of Vallejo staff have received an inquiry to develop a vacant 16-acre site with new single-family homes in eastern Vallejo. Looking at the map, homes will be constructed here, with access coming off of Skyline Drive. Staff have received an informal inquiry to establish co-housing units at an existing building at 824 Marin Street. It seems there's a proposal to demolish this existing duplex at 2313 El Dorado Street and replace it with 8 new multifamily units. These are just some of the projects that were shown off on screen during staff's presentation. However, Ms. Hayes revealed that there are many more conceptual projects that are currently being discussed by staff. Vallejo residents might finally start to see some new activity at the old Walmart on Highway 29. Ms. Hayes tells the council,
Paul and I did talk recently, 2 weeks ago, with the owners of the old Walmart site on 29. They're looking at redeveloping that site, reusing the building, doing an additional frontage building and some commercial along 29. So that's exciting. They're going to do a preliminary application, which is the conceptual level that all the departments can take a look at and provide feedback. So that's great. We really are excited that they're looking at reusing that building and moving forward with that.
Looking at the satellite view of the old Walmart, we might see new uses at this largely vacant building, along with some new commercial buildings fronting Highway 29. This might provide some exciting new energy at what the city has dubbed the Northern Gateway into Vallejo. Just north of the site, Vallejo might also see a new hotel on some info land that has been vacant for years.
We've got 5190 Sonoma Avenue in that gateway area. La Quinta Inn has submitted a preliminary conceptual review application for a 96-room hotel. They've received city feedback. They are in the midst of hiring an environmental consultant and will be ready to submit here shortly, hopefully in the next few months. So that's really exciting as one of the gateway entrances to the city that La Quinta's looking at developing that.
It's currently unknown how much of the vacant land La Quinta will take up. Of note is the proposed North Gateway Apartments project, a proposed 288-unit apartment complex which was first shown off in the city manager's May 2019 report. That project has not heard any new news since May of last year. It's certainly possible that the project has died, with La Quinta potentially taking up the entire site, but it might be more likely that La Quinta will only take up a portion of the undeveloped North Gateway. Staff from Planning and Development Services and the Economic Development Department have also been in talks regarding a new winery facility.
We also talked to a large winery in production. They're looking at several, 10 to 12 plus acre sites in the city to look at a manufacture, distribution, and production facility. So that's really exciting.
Vallejo might also finally see some development north of Columbus Parkway near the main entrance to Vallejo from Fairfield.
Another exciting opportunity up off of Columbus Parkway and Admiral Callahan up off the 80, Solano Ranch has submitted a preliminary review application. They're looking at a really exciting mixed-use project. They've had conversations over the last few years with the planning department, but now they are getting really serious. They've submitted that preliminary review application for 206 multifamily units, upwards of 300 possibly, 27,000 square feet of retail, a gas station, and a hotel. So this project really will be utilizing that section of the city that really hasn't been touched yet.
That's crazy, right? But it gets even better.
And the funny thing is, right adjacent to that is also another integrated resort management company has looked at several acres right adjacent to Highway 80, and they're looking at somewhere between 300 to 900 multifamily units. They're dealing with some biological constraints, but these conversations are great to start having now so that we can help partner them with the resources that they need to move their projects forward.
The city of Vallejo may see upwards of 1,200 new high-density residential units over the coming years up in the northeastern corner of the city. The two properties that are being referenced are north of Columbus Parkway and east of I-80. It will be interesting to see where these potentially major projects go in the future. Up in Hidden Brook, the city is eyeing some potentially crazy projects as well.
Another really high level but interesting inquiry out in Hidden Brook. There's a multi-acre hilltop that the owner is looking at doing a mixed-use development, hotel, housing, retail, low-income housing, high, really extravagant housing, artist quarters, wanting to build it kind of like a European little type village with cobblestone squares and where you could live and work in the same area. So very high level, very raw conversations, but exciting that the owner's really looking at doing something possibly there.
Hidden Brook may see some new mixed-use, mixed-income development up in the hillside. At first glance, it may be hard to find where this new development will go. However, looking at the city's general plan may give us a better look as far away, isolated from the rest of Hidden Brook, is a sole parcel with a land use designation of retail entertainment. City staff even confirmed so during the meeting.
The Hidden Brook development, is that one little spot on the hill that's zoned the entertainment commercial?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Over at the former Kentwick Bowling Alley, the city has received interest in redeveloping the site.
And then another one, just a smaller 148 Lincoln, 21 townhomes. They're looking at reusing or redeveloping that former bowling alley, doing some drive-through and some retail, and then 21 townhomes. And
lastly, and certainly not to be ignored, is another new potential project at the former Sperry Mills site. This site garnered significant controversy over the past few years as Vallejo Marine Terminal attempted to partner with Orsem to create a green cement facility. That project received significant backlash from the community over concerns regarding air quality and environmental racism, causing VMT to back off from the project in 2019. However, it seems VMT is back with a new proposal as they aim to partner with Cal Maritime for a secret new project. Not many details are known publicly. Here's what city staff have to say about the project.
VMT, I'm very excited that I don't know if you've got any updates specifically about not vehicle miles. This is VMT, Vallejo Marine Terminal, with Cal Maritime.
So we have been in conversations with them the last 2 weeks in a row, and again this week. They're getting very close to moving something forward. I did encourage them to get something conceptual so that we can share it with the council. So they're talking with environmental consultants. They're talking very large scale. They showed us a little bit, but they were very hesitant because they wanted to kind of tie up some of those loose ends before they publicly released what they're working on. But I will tell you, and Paul can tell you, it's very exciting. I think once they're to the point to show you those plans, council, you're really going to be blown away. It's very exciting.
Blown away is what staff believes council's and presumably the community's reactions will be. Unfortunately, we'll have to wait to see if it lives up to that expectation. It will be interesting to see how the community reacts to the project. Public trust in VMT may be low following the Orsem controversy, as illustrated by one public comment. It's time for the city to end this lease and give VMT the boot. The property they own isn't worth much without the lease. If there's now a project with Cal Maritime, VMT should sell that land to them. Vallejo doesn't need an unreliable middleman. They should work directly with Cal Maritime on leasing the city-owned and public trust land there, the valuable property on our waterfront. Suffice it to say, there's some crazy things happening in the city of Vallejo, and these next few years may prove interesting, even with a worldwide pandemic occurring in the background. If you like this video, please be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe to Solano Futuro if you want to hear more about development in Solano County, and hit the bell to be instantly notified whenever we upload a new video. And of course, be sure to visit Solano Futuro to learn more about all new projects in Solano County. We'll be sure to keep you updated on all new developments en el futuro. Until next time.